Hello everybody, it's Payam here from Niche. Today we're going to talk about the announcement that the government's made that they're reviewing or it's looking into 99% mortgages. And what I think about it, as someone who's been doing this for the last 20 years, I deal with clients on a daily basis. Me, not a team of brokers. I physically speak to clients, I physically get the mortgages, I physically see their problems, their issues, not some marketing firm, not some statistics firm. So I'm going to tell you right from the horse's mouth really what I think about this. Well, first of all, it's nothing new. You know, we've had these type of schemes in the past. We've actually got a 100% mortgage at the moment up and running with a lender called Skipton Building Society, and they launched that about 4 or 5 months ago, and I've done videos on it and follow-up videos on the schemes. But the concept of, high loan to value mortgages, so low deposit amounts, is nothing new. It's been around. The government, every time there's an election or they want to do something gimmicky, they'll put this out there. Now, there were some genuine schemes out there, like the Help to Buy schemes, that did help a lot of people get onto the ladder. Now, I was actually a critic of Help to Buy throughout its stages, Help to Buy 1 and Help to Buy 2, because I felt that it was fundamentally drawn up to sell houses rather than to help individuals. I felt that there were bigger interests at heart with the home builders, and the home builders did very, very well out of Help to Buy because it enabled people that could not afford could not afford that property on day one, be able to access that. Now, what we've seen is those people get onto the ladder, buy new build properties on low rates, and the problem is now those people are coming off 1.5% rate, 2% rate, and they're going to 4.5%, 5.5% rate. So it's still too soon to see whether people have done well at Help to Buy or not. I know some of my clients have, in all honesty, because they've managed to buy their property and then move out, maybe upgrade. So with Help to Buy, because there was that element of, affordability, that initial help boost, it's helped at some people, but I think it's also trapped a lot of people, because especially in Help to Buy London, because you were giving 40% government loan, and it was a loan, it wasn't a deposit contribution, it was a loan, 5% from you. So those people could be potentially in a lot of negative equity, especially if it's in new build flat rather than houses. So I was a critic of Help to Buy, but I think that was actually a genuine scheme. Then we've had the government 95% schemes out there, and I'll be honest with you, there's 95% mortgages that are not to do with the government schemes. So a lot of my clients come in for 95% mortgages, and I'm doing 95% mortgages for people. I think that's probably the limit. I would not like to recommend, I tell my clients, look, you're going to go for a 95% mortgage. What are you going to do if it's a down valuation? What you're going to do if in 2 years' time, rates might come down, but the property prices may come down as well. How much equity are you going to have in that? So there are things you need to earmark for yourself and try to protect yourself. Now, this gimmicky sort of 99% mortgage, we all know it's because of an election. The government's desperate. They're trying to come up with something after 13 years of, I suppose, failed property policy around property. We've had so many property sort of, people in charge. They've come and gone, and the issue that we've got fundamentally is an affordability issue rather than a loan to value issue. Okay, what you will find, what I find is people could probably come up with a 5 or 10% deposit. The problem is how they're going to reach to that loan. So instead of the government doing something fundamental to try to change affordability, what they're doing is they're making people enable people to borrow more, and I think that goes against what certainly the regulator is trying to do, because what we're trying to do is around affordability and making sure mortgages are suitable and what this is doing is it's inducing those type of people that may not be able to afford it to try to look on the property ladder. Now, There is an argument to say, look, Payam, it's all great. You own a house, you've got a mortgage, you got onto the property ladder. There are millions of people that haven't, okay? And they need the means. And in hindsight, yeah, it would be great if affordability, could be fixed, okay? But in the meantime, we've got to help those people get onto the property ladder. And I think that is a valid argument. It's better than paying rent. Some people say it's better than paying rent. Well, let's look at that, because fundamentally, all right, I can understand in London, and I think something needs to be done. I actually think something needs to be done around London and the south rather than nationwide. Because if you think a property up north, let's just say the property is worth £100,000 up north, and the same property is probably worth about 400,000 here, 500,000 here. There's a big difference in regards to, there's not that much of a difference between the income side of things. And I think somewhere down the line, if you're going to get onto the property ladder, you've got to have proven that you've done something. Okay. Now, whether that's been able to save some money, whether you've been able to pay your rent for a long period of time, so that could be taken into account, whether you've managed your finances in a right way, maybe there's some elements of that. Now, what's happening right now is the bank of mum and dad. So essentially people would get mum and dad to give me 10% of the deposit or 15% of the deposit. And that's very, very common now. Most of first-time buyers I see, they're getting some sort of contributions from their parents. So I think there is something that can be done in regards to looking at first-time buyers' history and making it easier for them. But I don't think the loan-to-value aspect is correct for everywhere, right? Because if someone's looking to buy a house or a flat for £100,000, I don't think it's too much to ask them to save up that deposit, okay? To ask them to put at least 5% deposit down rather than 1% deposit. And it's all about the mindset, and it's all about, what are you putting in? What skin is, when we deal with bridging finance and a lot of developers, okay? So what the bridging finance lenders would always want to say is, look, can we have some skin in the game, right? Skin in the game means, what are you contributing towards this deal? Okay, if somebody is contributing £1,000 on a £100,000 mortgage, that's not a lot. Honestly, some supermarket shops at the moment are £300-400. Okay, so what I'm saying is there's not much in there, and I don't like that concept. That concept of you're buying something really serious. You're not buying a TV. Okay, you're buying a house, you're buying a home, and there's got to be some level of sacrifices, short and long term. Okay, otherwise the new generation are not going to appreciate that hardship, right? I'm not saying put people through hardship, but I think if somebody's just been given something with no consequences, what happens when they go through hardship? What happens when they become sick? What happens when they lose their job? What happens when things become tougher rather than be handed it, okay? Now, yes, there's an argument to say if your parents are handing you to it, but when your parents are handing you something, there's an element of responsibility that comes with it, okay? When they're gifting you something, there's an element of responsibility. I'm just worried these type of schemes, one, they're going to be gimmicky. So what I mean by that is they're going to be restrictions around type of credit you may have, type of loan size it will be, type of properties you can buy. Okay, there will be whether it won't be open to foreign nationals in most cases. Okay, so there'll be lots of little but this and but that and but this, so they can get the headline of 99%. Okay, and that's what the previous sort of high loan to value deals were pretty much like. So I'm not saying don't give high loan to value mortgages to people. I make money out of mortgages. I just think it's a gimmicky thing, and I think it's irresponsible to be pushing a load of people that may not have the physical responsibility. They may not have the responsibility to be able to manage that type of debt. Okay, 99% debt. Okay, so what the government's saying is basically, guys, don't worry about it. You're not going to fall into negative equity. Now, the government itself, okay, could not predict where interest rates were 12 months ago. What they're doing is they're banking themselves, your family and your wellness on a whim that property price is not going to go down. What happens if those property prices go down and you're on a 99% mortgage? Okay, so I just think it's a desperate gimmicky sort of thing that they've put out there. They've put the fishing net out there, and they're just going to try to find out what sort of response they're going to get. It's just before, just before a budget goes out now, right? In the olden days, when a budget used to be done, the chancellor used to stand up and used to announce this budget, and it was new. What are they doing now? And I do realise that it happened with the Labour government first, with the Tony Blair government, but also the Conservatives for the last 13 years. When a budget comes, a week before that, they start releasing the information in the budget, just to get an idea of what the response is going to be. And this is exactly what it is. Just before an election, they're going to put this out there to see what the response is going to be, try to find out whether those young voters, whether they're going to be swayed by it. I remember, I think it was Boris Johnson. They did some sort of a similar scheme under the London Underground for the elderly, for example. So these things are gimmicky, and you've got to see through it. Fundamentally, is it affordable? Is it a long-term investment? At the end of the day, a property is an investment, okay? Yes, it's a place to live in, but it's an investment, okay? Are you going to be detrimented by that investment, by the investment that you're going to make? Is this going to be good for you long-term or bad for you long-term? Yes, if you're paying, then you look at the rent. Okay, I'm paying this rent, and rent's gone through the roof, okay? So does it make sense? Can I make this work? What happens if shit goes wrong? Okay, what happens if I lose my job? What happens if I do this? I've got a mortgage on my head, which is linked to my credit profile, and it could be detrimental. Repossessions. People don't pay their credit cards, don't pay their mobile phone. Okay, you're not going to get repossessed. You're going to have bad credit. You stop paying your mortgage, you'll see what happens in terms of, we've got, every broker has got this disclaimer wording, right? It says your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up your mortgage. So that's what it is, literally, okay? And we have to put it everywhere, okay? I'm going to put it on this beginning. You've probably had it at the beginning of this video, at the end of this video, because that's what it fundamentally is. If you break everything down, if you stop paying your mortgage, you're going to get repossessed. And repossession is not just that. It will stay with you 6 years, 10 years often with some lenders. So, just because you went for that 99% mortgage 7 years ago, 6 years ago, you could be held with this. So careful around this. There's a lot of crap that's going to come out in the next 9 months until the election happens. The economy is not doing good. The government is running out of ideas. It is in a real bad place. We're in a place where these people are believing the PR consultants. They're believing in the consultants over people that have been in the industry, and I'm very confident that people in the industry, people in my position that are dealing with clients all the time, don't want this thing. Okay, the developers may do. It may be actually skewed to say only for new builds. Okay, because the developers they do, those, the people that are building those properties, those flats that are, we're flogging them on the Help to Buy scheme. Now I think those flats are in danger of negative equity. So what are they doing? They're leaning on the government to come up with new ideas. And what's the government doing? That the person who's been in his job 2 minutes, he's going to be squeezed by the people around him. And what are the people around him? There are interests, like everything around those. So the advisors around them saying, guess what? This is a great idea. This is going to put you in the map. This is going to win you an election. And it's all these little gimmicky things that you're going to see in the next month from both sides of the party that you need to watch out for. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm privileged because I own a property, and now I'm saying, no, don't go for these type of schemes? Remember, I'm a mortgage broker. Remember, I make money out of people taking out mortgages, okay? So, but you tell me what you think. Do you think 99% mortgages are right? Do you think 95% mortgages are right? Do you think 100% mortgages are right? Do you think the government, what could the government do? It's all great me criticizing them, but what do you think the government can do to help affordability? Do you think they should hit the landlords again, tax them again, so there's freeing up stock? What do you guys think fundamentally we need to do to fix matters, right? Do you think we should just get rid of this government? And what's better? Is the other guys better? Are they better? I'm not sure. So let's just let's give it some thought, guys, and leave some comments below. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. All the best. The content of this video does not constitute giving advice. It's purely for information purposes. All cases should be discussed with a professional mortgage broker, As a mortgage is secured against your home or property, it could be repossessed if you do not keep up mortgage payments. Niche advice is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.